is Final Fantasy 2. Fantasy 2. Fantasy 2.
2, when Doc Ock's mind just kind of like snapped because of the whole explosion and the thing being like welded to his spine. And he basically, in his head, it developed different personalities for the tentacles on his back, because obviously it doesn't have a mind of its own. There's an AI that tells it to read off his nerves, but the only way it would have a personality is if there was like a split break in his psyche, and then he would start talking to it and had like and that was done well, and you knew he was crazy.
And they didn't talk, right?
No,
they only talked to him in his head. Like, you didn't hear them, and they did an amazing job kind of giving them a personality with just like this. You know, just the little claws and the way they looked and acted. It was like, oh, you know, kind of had a cute personality.
Well, and you can kind of tell what they want because it was reflected in his more renegade side of his personality in the movie, right? Like, you could tell, like, oh, that personality showing when he's at the bank and he's just doing what he wants. That's the split personality that was developed for those claws. And when he's pushing back against it and he's acting like himself, well, then you already have an idea of what the voice in his head is telling him to do.
Yeah.
That's just
I'm happy to get into this, but do you want to do the intro first?
Yeah, we could do it right at the beginning, because we never do it at the beginning.
Sure.
Usually it's like 5 to 10 minutes in, but welcome to the Vomitorium. As always, I am your host, Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. How you doing today?
Great. Feeling good. I took a nap this afternoon. I feel all right.
I went to sleep at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I went to bed late, but not that late.
Well, so I was originally, as you could probably see in my camera, sitting there, but I'll explain it for people at home. I got a new box yesterday.
Oh, good.
For the Boomerang box that's going to be shipped out. And I was going to go and ship it out today. Right? But I personally do not own a car. The times that I would have access to one is usually after the post office closes. But the post office isn't far, so I don't mind walking something down to the post office, right? Not in the rain, though. Like, I was going to, 8, 9 o'clock, that's about a good enough time. The post office will be open by the time I get there and stuff like that. And then around 9-ish, when I was ready to leave, it starts drizzling. And I knew the forecast was going to be spotty, but I'm looking at it. And during the time that the post office is open, it's not looking like I'm going to be able to mail this package out until like Thursday.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm just like, whatever. I'm going to fucking sleep.
Well, good. So, yes, I took a nap this afternoon and almost missed. Woke up with a start. I had a 2 o'clock training session.
Yeah.
That we have every Monday. Almost missed it, but made it. It was kind of worthless, but I'm required to be there, so it was good that I made it. It was a webcam thing. Yeah. But anyway, I was watching. We were talking before this about the Venom 2 trailer.
Yeah, with Carnage.
And other than Carnage, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, like you said, I hated Venom. I'm not going to say I hate it.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in Venom. It was just a boring movie. There just really wasn't anything entertaining about it.
Yeah. Well, I was just, the Carnage parts of the trailer, I highly recommend at least checking out the trailer, were really good. And Woody Harrelson makes, like you said, he's really good at playing a psychopath.
Yeah, it's Woody Harrelson. I would watch him in like anything. That's probably going to be the thing. And it's Sony, so it's like their reputation at this point. It's going to be like Spider-Man Homecoming, where Spider-Man Homecoming is actually a really good short film if you just cut out everything that isn't the Vulture.
Really? You didn't like the Vulture?
No, cut out everything that isn't the Vulture.
Oh, okay.
There's like 30 total minutes of Vulture if you crop it all together, and it's a really good short film. If it's just like Michael Keaton as the Vulture, and then like Spider-Man's interactions with him. Because I don't hate Tom Holland. I don't think he would play a bad Peter Parker if the role written for him was actually Peter Parker.
Well, it's weird that like all those people, like literally, whatever, 3.5 billion people died for 5 years, and then they come back and like nobody talks about it.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of touched on it in freaking WandaVision briefly.
Yeah.
And they kind of pointed out in Spider-Man. It's like, oh well, conveniently his entire personal class was all wiped with him, so they can just pick up their lives together.
Or wait a minute, did Homecoming happen before that?
No, Homecoming was before that. It was
okay, never mind.
What was it? Far From Home or
Far
whatever.
From Home.
That was the one that happened after. And they did talk about it. But very, very, very briefly.
That's the one where
That's
the one where Tony Stark for some reason gives a teenager a multi-billion-dollar system that can murder people.
Yeah.
It's like, Tony?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would have left it to literally anyone else.
Yeah. Not to mention, when did he set that whole thing up to give it to him? How did he know he was going to die? And
I don't know.
See, if you want to ruin any movie, even if you liked it, watch the pitch meeting for it on YouTube. Have you ever watched Pitch Meeting?
No, I have not.
It's on the Screen Rant channel. It's hilarious, and they have. I mean, it's an awesome takedown of terrible movies, but they actually do a pretty good job of ruining good movies too.
Oh, I mean, I could ruin almost any, because if there is a perfect movie, you could probably count all of the perfect movies there are on one hand.
Yeah. Well, they even did what was it? The Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, where he was like, so Doc Ock wants to talk to Peter. How does he do that? Oh, he throws a car at him. It's like, wait a minute. Did he know he was Spider-Man? No. So he tries to kill him, but he wants to talk to him? What?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
but
to be fair, as we were just saying, he is insane. His mind has snapped from the accident. Yeah. So we can't exactly expect him to be thinking in his best faculties, you know.
Mm-hmm. But also, he happens to rob the exact bank that Peter and May are at.
Now, those are the things you could bring as like, this is a little too coincidental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, I watched the Venom trailer, and it's way too jokey. Like, the stuff with Venom was terrible in the trailer.
So they're trying to make it more like the MCU. Because they're working with the MCU these days. And
yeah, but not doing a very good job. I mean,
I
started watching
the MCU.
Yeah. But I mean, not even doing as good of a job as they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started watching it.
They did. Right.
Yeah. On Twitter with the and when you know how it plays with the sound off, and I was playing for like 10 seconds with the sound off, and I was like, I already hate this. I haven't even heard it. I haven't even could tell what was happening, and it was not good. It was just like he's wandering around, and Venom is coming out of his back, making breakfast for him and making a mess. And I'm like, oh God, it's going to be jokey. It's going to be nothing but jokes the whole time, and stupid jokes.
It's going to be Thor Ragnarok, but with half the talent.
Yeah, it was terrible. And I don't know. Yeah, Tom Hardy is not good as a straight man for jokes. It's just...
No. He's good as a serious person, but yeah, I wouldn't lump him together as the straight man with a comedic. I mean, maybe I could probably find a situation where it works, but you'd really have to be focusing around that aspect, and they're clearly not, right? Because I know a lot of people like to they like to shut them. I actually enjoyed the last Mad Max. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie at all. It felt really Mad Maxy to me. Just before it came out, I had went back and watched the 3 Mad Maxes that happened before it. Like, yeah, I mean, he's not Mel, but the movie's fine. He's good as just like a
I'm sure he's
straight
fine.
deadpan actor and stuff, and he even had a couple comedic roles himself that worked in the Max way, like the whole that's bait thing and stuff. Like, but yeah, what you're talking about, like,
but it's just
he could be a straight
too
man
much.
if the person he's playing off against isn't like super slapsticky.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, because that's all that Venom is super slapstick. It's like, because it's all CGI and like it doesn't, you know. And then the reason we got into talking about Doc Ock was because there's like a part in the trailer where Venom is talking to him in his head, and he responds out loud, and so the person in the room just thinks he's crazy. It looks like he's talking to himself, and it's just like, oh my god, these jokes are terrible. They're so bad.
If he was the straight man and the type of comedy that you put up against him was like Ryan Reynolds or Adam Sandler type comedy, that would work fine. That would mesh very well. Like Bulletproof with Adam Sandler as an example. If he was like the straight man in that one, that would be fine. That would work with the way he works and everything. But you can't.
But like in the first one, he was such a downer. Like the whole part where he like had a fever and he was like sticking his head in the lobster tank and all this stuff. And I was just like, this isn't working. This is just terrible. It's just not his type of comedy. Yeah. Or it's just not good comedy at all. Anyway, I don't know if
it's just not good comedy. That's the problem. Yeah. Squeakers has a good, and it doesn't work as well in these days. You just wear a Bluetooth earpiece all the time. It doesn't have to be plugged into anything, like actually connected. It just, well, I'm on the phone. I was like, oh, well, we run into this every day in real life.
Yeah, but then you couldn't make the joke.
Yeah. Well, the joke just doesn't work as well anymore.
That's right. Yeah, because it's the hilarious joke of he's talking to
it sounds like boomers have written this joke or something like that. Like, this is the problem with the pitch meeting, right? Like, if you're really trying to make fun of it, don't have any young person in the room. And by young person, I mean anybody under the age of 50. Just have like a whole bunch of just old people in the room pitching ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, well, pitch meeting on Screen Rant it's one guy.
Yeah.
And he plays both the executive producer and the screenwriter pitching to himself. So it's funny. He plays off.
If you want to be more realistic, though, if they had more people, you'd want like 5 to 10 people in the room, because these things are pitched and written by committee now. There's not like often a talented writer. All these movies are written by a committee, and then when you see something that actually does blow up people's expectations, like say the Joker movie. Joker was primarily written by a single decently talented writer and not by committee.
He's always saying like, well, why would that happen? And the answer is always like, so the movie could happen. Or why would they do that? Because I wrote it that way.
Yeah.
It's like no actual logical reason.
Yeah, to a certain extent, so the movie could happen can work. Because something has to set everything up. It's just like, how far can you push that, though?
Yeah, how much can you suspend your disbelief and just be like, that wouldn't happen, except it has to because the movie's got to happen.
Yeah, it's like a plane crashes. Everyone except for one person survives. Plane's just completely totaled. Likely, no. Possible, sure, we can move on with the movie.
Yeah.
But then when like you start adding like, I don't know, 100 lightning strikes in a row's worth of probability, like, I don't know if I can keep watching this movie.
Yeah. Well, and hey, Evil One, welcome. I have to say like I said before, the Carnage parts do look good.
Yeah.
So I just hope they focus on that and not focus on Venom being an idiot. I don't really like the way they went with that character because he was always evil. Like, just blatantly evil.
Well, kind of. He was always vengeful.
or
Because
yeah.
the way it started off is he got pissed at Peter Parker, who kind of threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always been like a villain at best, an anti-hero, ever since that first setup. And in the movie, they kind of made him like he was the class clown, so they sent him away. So he was already a goofball before he met Eddie. It's like I don't like this at all.
And they don't give him Spider-Man to be mad at, so it's just kind of like, what's their motivation?
Like, his power set or anything like that, right? This is a real problem because like Venom could do a whole bunch of stuff, and they do leave it a little more loose with the tendrils and everything. But a lot of the reasons why he takes the form that he does, even when he takes over with Eddie, and the reason why he's like specifically uses like the tendrils and stuff like webs, is because Spider-Man kind of formed the personality at the beginning.
Yeah. So I don't know about the way they're going with these Venom movies. It had some potential, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's just I don't have anything else to say about it. I'm probably going to see it.
That they've handled the symbiote and everything related to it for quite some time in the comics either, because before that movie came out, they tried rebooting Venom again, as they usually do with the comics, because they want it to reflect like whatever the hell they want to do with the movies. And then they've always been bringing in like more symbiotes and stuff like that, and it's just it's been getting out of hand since like the aughts.
It's like when they can't think of something new for the character to do, they just make more characters that are similar. There's like 20 different symbiotes.
She Venom, She Carnage, all kinds of things. Every individual character's been a Venom at some point in time.
Yeah, I mean, isn't there like one named Poison or something like that?
Yeah, there is.
And there's like 5 others with all different names. It's crazy. But I mean, it's cool when they do something like Blackest Night, where I think Venom was in that, wasn't he? As a Black Lantern, maybe.
I think you're crossing over Marvel and DC.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're completely off base here.
I'm confused because the Black Lanterns kind of remind me of Venom. That's right.
Yeah. Names and
no, but they did. I guess I'm thinking of Marvel Zombies, maybe something like that, where they had some interesting stories.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't freaking know.
Yeah.
I can't keep it all straight. Problem is, I haven't read a Spider-Man comic in like 20 years. I just barely kept up.
I remember I first saw Poison too. I'm like, what? Well, Poison is a character from Final Fight. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up all the Venom symbiotes, there's Carnage, Scream, Lasher, Phage, Agony, and Riot. Is there Poison?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
I thought there was. Anti-Venom, of course.
Poison's a character from Final Fight. Let me get out of here. Freaking Street Fighter.
And it's also a rock band.
Yes, Poison is a rock band, if you can call them such.
There's gotta be. I mean, Venom, Poison, it just makes sense.
Oh man, I'm gonna have the freaking Unskinny Bop stuck in my head. I can't think of Poison without that stupid song getting popped in my head.
I don't.
What's that one song? That really basic song that everybody likes from Poison's "Talk Dirty to Me."
Okay.
It's not even like close to their best song, but everybody likes it. And I think it's just because, or at least everyone in my generation likes it, because they put that stupid song in Guitar Hero. And it was the easiest song to play. So everybody's just, as they're getting better at the game, they're just playing Talk Dirty to Me over and over and over again. Like, please, for the love of God, stop.
Yes, I have confirmed that there was a symbiote named Poison.
Yeah.
at any rate. So yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure I won't see it in the theaters, but if it's on some sort of streaming service that I'm already paying for, I'll probably watch it. Although it would be on Disney Plus, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm not gonna pay for Disney Plus.
Probably. Again, I mean, the movie is
Maybe.
technically owned by Sony, but because Marvel is owned by Disney and they've been working with Disney, and I don't think Sony actually has their own streaming service that isn't like anime related, it probably very likely would be on Disney Plus. I think all the Spider-Man stuff are, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't.
No, I'm not
This
paying for
weird
that.
is this isn't directly related to the MCU, and they haven't done anything to tie it in yet. It's been a disconnected property.
Yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of, I think, didn't we talk before a little bit about the DC animated movies
Yeah, we were talking about that.
we were talking about? And how much better they are than the DC like live action movies?
Yeah, or how much better they are than anything Marvel tries to animate. Yeah.
Yeah. Over the weekend I watched through not all, but basically the main line, all of the DC animated movies, and they're great.
Yeah.
They're absolutely great.
We
They're all
talked
on
about that,
yeah, they're all on HBO Max, and like there's one that focuses on the Teen Titans that was fantastic. It's interesting. I didn't realize, like, I've seen some stills and some scenes from these movies, mostly via our friend Pope Fire, but I didn't realize what they were from exactly until I finally saw, like, because for some reason they decided to make Starfire older, like the leader of the Titans. And I guess when Nightwing left to become part of the Justice League, but Starfire's older, and like Raven and Damian Wayne are a thing in this, but they're like kids. So I'd seen some scenes from there, but had never like made the connection that that's what they were from.
Well, I mean, Starfire kind of had to be older because of how old Dick is, and she's supposed to be the same generation as him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but but why isn't Raven older too?
I don't know. They wanted to
didn't
keep
age up Raven.
the Corey Dick relationship. So
And have and they wanted to have Raven and Damian fall in love for some reason.
I didn't get at all, right? Like, I get trying to keep freaking Grayson and Starfire the same age because you want to keep the relationship, right? I don't get why you would want to put Damian and Raven in a relationship.
I thought it was cute. Who else is Raven going to be with? Like Beast Boy?
Maybe
I
just
guess.
not with anyone?
That's fine.
No.
Yeah, that would have been fine too, but
Yeah.
I thought that was cute. And they didn't actually, like, there's a little bit of, it's basically just friendship, like in the first one, where Damian goes to be with the Teen Titans. I forgot what the name of that one was. But they didn't, like, it wasn't like romantic until the end of Apocalypse War, which was the last one that just came out last year. So it was just kind of a friendship thing up until this last year. But
They're talking about, Crackle got sold, which I already knew. That's why I said they don't have a streaming service themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I like Crackle. Crackle was pretty cool. Mostly because you can watch anything that Crackle paid for to produce for free. You just have to watch an ad, right? And so when Joe Dirt, a lot of things, but Joe Dirt 2 was actually paid by Crackle. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Joe Dirt 2? That's actually happening? And I got to watch it for free, only having to watch commercials. I'm like, I don't care. I watch things on TV, or I used to watch things on TV with commercials. Like, that bothers me.
Yeah. But yeah, HBO Max has like the entire DC animated universe movies, all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think
Is it
there's any
because
that aren't on there.
the DC Universe app is not making as much money as they wanted it to?
I guess maybe WB did a deal with HBO. I don't know.
Well, it's owned by them.
Oh,
Yeah.
HBO is owned by WB?
Yeah. We've
well,
been
that's
over
fine.
this before.
Okay. No, I'm sure we did.
Yeah.
I was thinking that because I was like, this seems like like the answer to Disney Plus
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever. Because they've got like everything DC is there.
Yeah, because we were
So
talking
that's
about
kinda
Disney
cool.
Plus, and you're wondering, does WB have anything like that? It's like, yeah, they own HBO.
Okay. There you go. It makes sense then.
It was back when we were still discussing that horrible WandaVision show.
Yeah, right. GMT has never been. I guess there's no Denny's in the UK.
Why would there be? I mean, why is there even Denny's here in the U.S.?
I don't know. It's not good. It's like
No.
it's like a poor man's IHOP.
Exactly. Or even worse, it's
Just gotta-
like a poor man's Waffle House.
Waffle House is a poor man's Waffle House. Ugh.
Yeah, that's my opinion of Denny's.
Yeah.
You go there and just get a Grand Slam? Psh, make better stuff than that at home.
Yeah, I used to go to. I worked when I was in college. I spent one summer selling books door to door.
Mm-hmm.
The Southwest Book Company, and every day we'd go to Denny's for breakfast because it was cheap as shit.
Yeah.
And we were trying to save money, but never again. Never going
Like,
back to Denny's.
The only time that I like going to either Denny's or Waffle House, because I do kind of put them in a similar camp to each other, is also the time I prefer going to IHOP, so I'd still rather go to IHOP at that time. And that's about like 2 to 3 a.m. when there's nobody there. I used to just go with people, and we would bring games, and we would just eat there from like 2 to 4, playing card games or whatever. Sometimes we just bring a piece of paper and we'd play a game where everybody just adds a line to the paper as you pass it on. It has to be a single stroke, and you build an image out of just everybody adding a single stroke to the piece of paper. And you would use the crayons that come with the kids menu. Like, hey, you guys got any crayons?
A breakfast disco place. I think GMT's missing this. Missing the point. Denny's.
Breakfast disco place would be way cooler than Denny's.
Yeah, definitely.
And disco's dead.
So yeah, I may even watch, what was it called? Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. The one where it has both versions.
Oh, yeah.
Or it has several versions. I never actually watched that, but I noticed it was on there. So I was like, maybe I'll watch it. We'll see. Disco is so gay. But I don't like the looks of Venom 2.
Yeah. It's not even going to be a full disco. It's only going to be playing Bee Gees music the whole time. I don't know. I'm not watching it. That's for sure. I probably won't even watch it when it goes to streaming or anything.
Mhm.
Like, it just... I don't know. There's something... I'm getting to this point that if something's like really, really, really bad, I'll watch it for the entertainment of it being really bad. Not even so bad that it's good, just so bad that I'm being entertained by how bad it is, right? And there's a difference, because people are like, isn't that the same thing? No. Something that's so bad that it's good is because it then becomes like a work of art in that respect, right? But if you're just trying to laugh at trash, you can get a form of entertainment out of something that isn't artfully made, but is just crap.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
This doesn't look bad in that way, unfortunately. It just looks bad.
And so I'm not gonna watch it because, like, I've got so much better things to do with my time than watch things I'm not gonna be entertained by, right? Like, if somebody was paying me to watch it, like if I was a film critic or something, sure, I'd watch it. But I've even told people, like, oh, this game is free, you should play. It's like, no, you'd have to pay me to play that game. Like, I'm at that point that, like, you'd have to pay me to do this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I played Among Us was it last night? Wow, it seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
for the first time, and I paid. Luckily, it was on sale, so I only had to pay $4 instead of the usual 5. But I mean, we're only going to be playing it every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so it'll be fine. But it's I don't know how people could play. I guess they don't, but I don't know how people can play that like a lot.
There are people who just play that a lot.
Yeah.
A group of friends that I knew, mostly IRL, but then they've expanded into their own online network. Travis is part of it. A couple of the regulars to the show, or former regulars, Pataya and Juggernaut are part of it too. There was at one point where they were playing it almost every single night with their group of people. And I'm just like, how? You could... like, that's one of those things. Like, you'd have to pay me to play this once.
I couldn't pay attention because it's like you're constantly distracted. Like, first of all, I didn't know the map very well. Yeah. You got to do your tasks. I don't know the map, so I'm switching between looking at the map and trying to find where the next task is and actually doing the next task. And in the meantime, I'm trying to pay attention where everyone else is, but that's just a lost cause. I'm just like, I don't know where anybody is.
I don't have a problem juggling stuff like that. It's just the whole concept of the game I don't find interesting.
Well, it was fun to be an imposter.
Yeah.
Like, the first time around, I really didn't know what I was doing, and so I wasn't killing people fast enough, and I ended up losing just because they completed all their tasks.
Yeah.
Or I don't think I got caught. Maybe I did. Maybe I got caught. But the second time around, once I figured out the vents, I was like, oh, this is cool. I can basically sit in a vent, wait until one person comes in the room, pop out, kill them, and pop back into the vent. And it worked really well. I actually won that round, so that was fun. But I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure I'm going to get out of practice after another 2 weeks.
Yeah. It was kind of like the problem with when I was playing games with Rick every Friday. And he had so many. No, he doesn't do the streaming for it. I would still play games with him if he wanted to. I told him when he was like done streaming and he was like, quit streaming, but we knew it was all just going to be a hiatus. It's like, Rick, we don't have to be on stream. If you still want to play a game with me off air, just let me know. I'm down to play games, and stuff like that. If you just need like a break from something, a little chill, we can do something. But the big problem when we were playing is he had so many games on his, the repertoire that we would play, that it might be a month and a half until we play the same game. I'm adapted to the game because I do sometimes play the games offline, and I'm just better at games in general. But he would completely forget how to play the game in that time, and because there's such a big gap, he's not building up any like muscle memory for it or anything like that. And it'd be like, what's the point? So eventually I got him to lower it to where we were only rotating between 3 games, so it was slightly less than a month between each game type, and he was starting to slowly improve at them. But I mean, if you want to get good at a game, you got to be playing it all the time. That's really the case. And now, I'm sure, like me, you don't give a shit about getting good at Among Us.
No.
Yeah.
Not in the least. I really don't. Yeah, I'm not going to be like practicing between now and then. I might like look at the maps a couple of times so that I'm maybe even like print them out or something. Yeah, so that I don't have to constantly look at the map in the game. But other than that, no, I don't really care. But yeah, the games that you and Rick play, I don't like any of those games. Or I'm just not. I'd love to play with you guys, but I have no interest in Red Dead Redemption.
I barely even have an interest in Red Dead Redemption.
or Phantasy Star, or what was the other one? League of Legends.
Well, see, I'm a variety gamer.
I have no interest in
my thing is like I like a very, very broad range of games. So when I say I don't like something, it confuses people. He's like, but you play so many different games. It's like, but I can usually tell the quality of entertainment I'm going to get from a game from just looking at 5 minutes of gameplay. Like, I've played so many games that I can tell if I'm going to like it just from looking at it.
If you guys ever wanted to play like StarCraft 2, I'd play that with you.
Oh, dude, I
That'd be
don't
fun.
actually even own a copy of StarCraft 2.
Mm,
I've played it,
That's an awesome
especially
game.
because they put when the arcade was free, right? Like you could just go in and play the StarCraft 2 arcade without owning a copy. But I actually don't own a full copy of StarCraft 2. I should probably buy one. I was always more
Um,
of a Warcraft guy. Like
well,
the
I'd play
old,
Warcraft. Yeah,
yeah.
I'd play Warcraft with you too, I suppose. Although I don't think I've ever played competitive Warcraft 3. You can play matches, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Warcraft
yeah.
3,
I
presumably?
that's actually the one that I used to play the most matches competitively.
Oh.
I'd go
See,
back
no,
and forth between Undead after they added it, but before that I would play Night Elf all the time. Our sacred grove is under attack.
see, you know me, I used to play Warcraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was my game. So 'cause that came out when I was in college. Oh my God, I spent
Yeah.
countless hours and days playing Warcraft 2. Crazy.
Well, the thing about
So
3, and this is why nobody wants to play it unless you play a old version of 3, and everybody has the same stuff downloaded, is because the HD remaster took away the custom game mode. And that's what most
really,
people spent most of their time playing. Yeah, like the StarCraft arcade, there's no custom game mode for the HD remaster. That was the big complaint that everybody had on how they ruined it.
and they never brought it back?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have the HD remake. I have the original.
That's what I have, yeah.
Yeah, I never bought it.
And I think
I
it
mean,
doesn't, ever since they put the remaster on there too, the original game I don't think actually works on Battle.net anymore. You have to port forward to play.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was going to. I was excited about the
Yeah.
remaster, and then when I saw what they did to it, I was like, "Fuck
Mhm.
that." I'm almost feeling the same way about Diablo 2. I'm just like,
Yeah. Or
"Oh my
what we would
God,
do
if
to
they're
cheat
gonna."
is we wouldn't use port forwarding because it's a pain in the ass to make sure everybody's on the same page with that. Like the technically
Mhm,
savvy people in the group, you give them the information, everybody sets up their port forwarding properly, easy. But then you'll have like 2 or 3 people in your group that have no idea how to operate technology, and you're just like
yeah,
on call, right? Just troubleshooting them through the whole thing, and they're still fucking it up
mhm,
because they're getting like 1 or 2 numbers wrong, and you're having to go through and
yeah.
proofread everything. And then you're like, okay, well,
Well,
now you have to install TeamSpeak or the Microsoft Viewer so I can go in and do it myself. But now we got to make sure or not TeamSpeak, TeamViewer is set up
you're right.
properly
Yeah.
so I can go in and actually do it. And it's like,
hmm
so we used Hamachi, which makes it a lot easier because you just create a virtual LAN network. And you just play as if
Well,
you're connected.
Rick figured out how to set up
Mhm.
whatchamacallit, an ARC server. So he
Yeah.
must have gotten the port forwarding and everything done.
Yeah, yeah, he must have.
It's kind of cool. But anyway, I mean, I'd sooner play Stardew Valley with you guys.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. I need to go pick up
That's
a copy. It's not that expensive. I should just buy it on Steam.
Do you have it on Switch?
No, we've been over this before. I own it on one system, and it's a system I never plan on playing again, and that's the PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay. Well, it's better on Steam anyway, because I have, for some reason, I have it on Steam and Switch, but the Steam one I
You have a
love
lot
just
of mods.
because
Yeah.
I have a lot of mods. We've already talked about this. Why am I talking about this? I have a lot of.
Competitive Stardew Valley.
In fact,
You know, they keep talking about that this is going to potentially be a thing, because one of the eventual add-ons, they want to be able to have more than one farm for multiplayer. Because right now the multiplayer is just limited to everybody just working on the same farm together. Or did they already add the multiple farms?
They added a second farm.
They did.
It's
Okay.
not just for multiplayer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not specifically for multiplayer, and it takes a while. But once you get to, there's a whole other island that you can get to now, and on that island, they give you a whole other farm.
Okay.
You can sleep on that island. You can basically move to that island permanently.
Because I know for a while they had been talking about adding a second farm, but I haven't been paying too close attention to see if they've ever actually added it or not.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. In fact, yeah, I need to get back to it because I started playing a new game with the
Yeah.
newest patch and everything. I actually have gotten to the other island, but I haven't gotten to the point where I can actually sleep on the other island. There's
Hmm.
something I need to unlock. So if I want to go there, I have to. It takes a while. I have to
But that's what they really need
go
to
down
do
to
is
Willie's and
the ability for, because co-op is fine. A lot of people want to play co-op. Most people who play multiplayer are going to want to play co-op in general. But you're going to have a big chunk of
Mhm.
people it's like, I want to start a farm with my friend and I want to outcompete my friend. That's what I want to do. So when I start the game, I want to have my own farm. I want
Mm.
him to have his own farm, and I want us to be graded against each other
Mm.
and stuff like that. So it's going to be a smaller
Yeah,
group,
I
but it's still
mean,
going to be a big enough group, like maybe a third of people who want to play multiplayer.
yeah, you can do that, but you have to police yourself,
Yeah.
basically. Like you don't. It's all there's something called the four corners farm. So you
Yeah.
can have up to four people, and each person, as long as they stick to their area, can do that. And then each person has their own bank account, and so you can do that, but you'd have to police it yourself, because anyone could just go over to somebody else's farm and sabotage them or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But if you
but yeah,
actually
there's
had
nothing
like
that
dedicated
forced me.
farms per player.
Yeah, yeah, that's not in there. And like I said, even the extra farm on the other island,
It's still
once you
just
can
all
get
your
to it,
farm. Yeah.
anybody can get to it. Yeah, it's all the same one. But, yeah, there's some interesting multiplayer games that we could play if you and
Yeah,
or
tons
Rick
of
were
multiplayer
interested.
games that we. Well, you and I actually could play a game that's much better playing with other people than by ourselves. We both have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and I've hardly progressed in it at
Uh,
all. We could play that. Now,
yeah,
that
me
game's
neither.
fun multiplayer. It's
I
actually
was
kind
gonna
of
say don't
annoying by
start together.
yourself, but oh yeah, we actually do have Don't Starve Together. That one's pretty fun too.
But yeah, we do have Crystal Chronicles. I
Yeah.
I have gotten to the first area and
Yeah.
haven't gotten any.
Yeah, that's my problem is like I remember playing this game and having a lot of fun with it, but I also remembered, oh yeah, when I played this game, we always had 2 or 3 people playing together, just plugged into the same machine. And this game's actually kind of boring when you play it by yourself, and that's why they had to make sure that online play was available from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't blame anybody who gets bored with that game and they are only playing by themselves. Like, I'm not having a lot of fun. It's like, yeah, because the game's not fun by itself. It's not designed to be fun by itself.
Yeah.
They give you Mog just to hold the frickin' thing for you because you don't have anybody else to move it around.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to force ourselves to
Yeah, play it sometime.
try playing together. Yeah. I didn't know if it was better or if you needed to get to a certain area before you
No, the
switch to
game was
multiplayer. If
designed
it's
for you to play right off from the bat. Like, you do have to watch a
Yeah.
short little cinematic, like 15 seconds of you leaving home for the first time. But after you have a character set up, you can just play multiplayer right from the beginning. And it's designed for you to play multiplayer in the very first, like, I guess, dungeon or area that you go to.
yeah. We'll have to try it.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
do both have it. Must have been on sale or something.
Mm-hmm. That's why I picked it up. I picked it up with, like, all the DLC, too. So I've got, like, the extra, they don't really change gameplay. It's mostly aesthetics. But I have, like, the memory costumes and stuff like that. And I think I also have the
Oh.
extended wallet so I can hold more money in it. Yeah.
I don't think I got any of that. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
all on the Switch?
Yeah, that's all on the Switch. So there's actually
Hmm.
only, like, 2 DLCs that are worth it. If you don't have a nostalgia for the game, so you don't know the characters, there's no point in picking up any of the memories, which are just basically skins that if you're playing the same, like, sex and race as the memoried character, you can put it on and you'll appear as that character as well. Right? So again, if you have no nostalgia for it, you don't care. Maybe if after somebody beats the game and they really like the characters, they'll go pick up the characters that they like.
Yeah.
The ones that
So
are
you say
worth
there's
it,
the bigger wallet?
yeah, there are 2 things that actually improve gameplay from the start of the game. And there's one that extends your wallet, and I can't remember what the other one is, but they're both like really cheap. They're like $5 purchases, but they basically make the start of a game easier. I think eventually you get to the point that your wallet's big enough that it doesn't matter, but it takes a long time into the game until you get there. So honestly, you find yourself money hungry early on because you keep getting enough money, but you can't hold enough to do all the things that you want to do. So you're constantly like running back and forth and doing one or two things at a time.
Yeah, that always bothered me about Zelda games with the different size wallets.
Yeah, when am I going to get the Giant's wallet already?
Yeah, I was always filling up those wallets, and then every rupee after that was just a waste.
Yeah.
Gotta spend this. Oh well.
Yeah. But we could play that sometime. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
You just get on call. Because, I mean, it's designed to be a couch co-op game. But it also, the release came out during a time when couch co-op just really wasn't feasible. So it's like basically a fully online co-op game.
That's smart.
And it's cross-platform. Anybody who owns Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles on any system can play together. Because it connects through the Square servers. Yeah.
Is it available on PlayStation?
I would assume so.
Or not?
The
Sony
thing
doesn't
is,
have a problem with that?
Square can get away with stuff when it comes to Sony, because Square and Sony have a very particular relationship with each other.
Yeah.
You have to like look at things very, very particularly when it comes to Square Enix anyway, right? As a games software manufacturer, right? You're a developer. If we were to take hardware out of all these other companies' sales, which for like Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft at their games division, hardware accounts for like the bulk of the money that they make, right?
Yeah.
When we just look at the software, Square Enix is like top 5 in software sales, just in general in games. They're like a $2.5 billion company, all just related to software sales.
Yeah. I don't think it's available on Steam. Doesn't look like it is.
It may not be.
It's called Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not. Interestingly. Or uninterestingly. But we've got it on. We've got it on Switch.
Yeah, and it's prepared. I do think it's going to eventually hit everywhere. But it doesn't use like the Switch's front code. It uses the same type of coding system that all of Square's mobile games use. So you have your own ID in there. You have to share it with somebody. But if you don't want to be like long-term friends with somebody, and you're only a friend if you both follow each other, so you can actually follow somebody who doesn't follow you back and vice versa. But if you want to be long-term friends with somebody, you both have to add each other's code. And if you don't want to be friends, you can just create a one-time code for getting together with people, which is good for like streamers and stuff. The problem is anybody can follow a streamer because I believe your code just kind of shows up at all times, like it does in Genshin.
Yeah. Oh my. Ooh.
But that's just for people to follow you. You don't have to follow anybody back. You know, just like a long list of followers. I remember in Brave Exvius, which is one of the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, it was basically Square was partnered with another company. They made a game called Brave Frontier. So they made a Final Fantasy version of the game that was a gacha, and you could pick up like classes and characters from Final Fantasy's lore to play the game through. I had like 100 followers on that one, just because random people will start following you when they use your like set character to your icon as a support character, and I was following back maybe 20. It's like I don't care about all these random followers and stuff. I do like a lot of Square's
But-
mobile games. They do a lot of really good mobile games, though.
Mhm.
And it's because they treat them like our actual RPGs, right? What's weird is Square's mobile games function more like Final Fantasy games than their actual mainstream Final Fantasy games do.
Yeah, well, their latest ones, yeah. When is Final Fantasy 16 coming out?
2000 never?
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was in development.
It definitely is in development, but do you know how long Final Fantasy 15 was in development? It originally had a different name. I don't trust Square on any amount of time frame it says something's going to come out.
What was the different name at first?
Final Fantasy Versus 13. It was originally going to be part of the Final Fantasy 13 like little mini franchise.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vaguely remember that.
And then they kept a lot of the ideas. They basically scrapped a lot of stuff, rebuilt it, and turned it into a brand new game. And you're like, oh, this is going to be the 15th entry in Final Fantasy now. I don't trust Square on timelines. Do you know the freaking the remake for 7 was in development for 6 years.
Like the first chapter of it.
Well, I'm assuming the whole thing, and there's like, oh, we got this much done, let's put it out now. Because when it was first in development, they didn't say anything about it being cut up into chapters.
Oh.
That wasn't something that we knew until like a year and a half before the game actually dropped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah.
They need to pull a Final Fantasy 9 and be like, you know what? We're gonna get back to our roots now.
I used to really like them
Just
as
for
a
one
company.
game.
I don't often consider myself a fan of anything, an enthusiast at best. I used to be an enthusiast for Square products back when they were still Squaresoft. I liked a few of the Enix products. When they came together, I was an enthusiast for Square Enix as a company, but they've just become honestly trash as a company. They still put out some good things.
Oh, their Dragon Quest games are still great.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff on the Enix side is still fine, but as a whole, they're kind of just like a trash company at the moment.
Typical AAA company.
And they're not, so they had like one big kerfuffle, right? With the whole Deus Ex build your own pre-order thing, where if you wanted everything off of it, it was going to cost $1,000, and they knew, they're like, their excuse like, you don't have to get everything, it's just so you could get the stuff that you want. But they knew there was going to be some people that couldn't really help themselves, and they were going to get it all. They were counting on that. Some whales out there that were going to actually drop $1,000 on this pre-order. And the biggest problem there is that it blew up in their face despite that, right? There was like a couple people that got it, but everybody saw this as like a gimmick to abuse users, abuse customers, and nobody pre-ordered that game. So they learned from that, and they haven't really been doing too many customer abuse things. In fact, you look at their mobile game, or not their mobile, their MOBA, MMO, the Final Fantasy 14, their customer support for 14 is actually really good, right?
So what were they charging $1,000 for?
All the pre-order bonuses that was coming with Deus Ex.
But you didn't have to get
No, it was build your own pre-order, right? But they were selling a way that it's like they knew people were gonna. Or again, it blew up in their face because the only people who bought it were the people who basically spent the whole $1,000. Most people did not pre-order the game at all because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, if I can't get everything, I don't want any of it. Yeah. So they learned from it. They really haven't been fucking users over, so I can't say they're the worst company. They're actually pretty good compared to a lot of AAA companies. The difference is they just put out a lot of shit. Like, there's just a lot of trash that they're pumping out these days. And then it makes you appreciate the good things. But it's like Dragon Quest, for example. Great game. Still running great. But it's getting praises for simply doing what the series is supposed to be doing. right? Like there haven't been a lot of advancements in Dragon Quest that you would say is still along the feel or aesthetic of the game, right? It's kind of like it's gotten visually better. Mechanics are mostly the same. It's getting praised for just standing still rather than regressing like everything else has been doing.
Yeah, it's basically it's amazing how similar Final Fantasy 11 is to like I mean not Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest 11 is to like Dragon Quest 4.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many similarities.
And that's
amazing.
good, but that's like the baseline, right? You shouldn't be praising people just for meeting the baseline.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, these days, by comparison, yeah.
You could say, well, there's a low bar now, and that's unfortunate, but it's like, hey, they did a good job of just basically giving us the same thing again. Just, new story and new graphics and, what more could you ask for?
The funny thing, too, is like, one of the reasons I rag on this company, I got into an argument with somebody recently in a Discord server. I rag on Square so much because Square used to actually have really high standards. They had a lot of experimental phases where there's things that you're like, why did they do that? But it still kind of met the company standards at the time and what was expected from any company at the time in general. They used to have really high standards, and they actually used to have like quality control. And they're releasing things now that I don't think would have passed the quality control for Final Fantasy II under what the company standards were at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like Dragon Quest on that, the NX side of things is just there at the quality control standard, right? And that's what you want from the game, as you expect, but they're just putting out so many things that don't even meet the baseline for quality control.
Yeah. Well, Dragon Quest does.
Yeah. But that's why I'm so hard on them. Like, if it was an indie company that was, like, a much smaller, then I'd be like, okay, they tried. I saw what they were going here. They didn't execute things quite as well or whatever. But when you're a $2 billion software company who doesn't even have to focus on hardware like some of these other companies do or anything like that, even they have arcade games, but all of that is done by other people. Like Square will partner up with Konami or something for their Theater Rhythm arcade game or whatever. They don't make the units for that. So all they simply merchandise and software. That's all they make their money off of. And they've got $2 billion in net worth. So that's not actually the money coming in and out. That's just what the worth of their company is. So they're actually dealing with a lot more money on a regular basis coming in and out of the company to actually throw at this stuff. And they still can't even pass the quality control standards from when they were less than $1 million company by the same money standards. You have a right to be critical of them.
Yeah, it's funny though, a lot of what we complain about newer games are like basically them trying to change the formula and try new things, but they're just bad things.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, all right, so is it better if they come out with a new game that's basically the same exact formula, just slightly updated? Or would you rather they try very new things and sometimes fail?
Just improve the formula, right? It doesn't have to be slightly updated either. You could totally update the formula that already exists, right? It's like a derivation formula where you have your little F in front of it, right? So what we got is Octopath Traveler as an example of something that has the classic Final Fantasy turn-based system, and then completely turns the formula on the head, taking inspiration from Bravely Default with their kind of battle point system and the break system and stuff. And it's like, this feels more like a Final Fantasy game. It's not identical. Nobody wants something that's identical, but we want something that has the same visceral, organic feeling and aesthetic of what has come before it. We want to see an evolution. We don't want to see like, this creature died, but it's fine. We've got something else that's kind of similar that we're going to name the same thing.
And why couldn't they basically do that with the next Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, instead of having it to be some weird non-property spin-off game commissioned by another company.
Mm-hmm. Or that triangle. I always forget what the hell it's called.
Oh, the new
now.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool because it's like, they're talking about freezing the ground and melting it and then using electricity on it and stuff. It's like, oh wow, that's really going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It does look sort of like a Final Fantasy spin-off or something like that.
Yeah, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Sometimes it's like, okay, we're having trouble getting up this hill. You know what? Maybe if we put chains around the wheel, it'll get more traction and we can get up there. Like, you could just add things on without being too crazy.
You don't have to turn the whole car into like a giant robot or something. Just
Yeah.
the hill. Completely different
Or get
vehicle.
everybody out to push for 15 minutes straight.
Oh well, I don't know how we got back to Final Fantasy again.
I actually mostly just want it as an excuse to complain about the AAA industry in general, because they're not the only company doing that. They really aren't. Some are doing better. I mean, honestly, we were going to talk about Resident Evil. Like, I know we're at the end of the show, but in general, Capcom hasn't been doing that. They were for a while, but Capcom has actually been doing pretty good compared to the peers within the same field. Because you would probably consider them about the same equivalent of status of Square Enix.
We need to get Capcom to come up with a brand new, original 2D Zelda game. Because they're the ones that developed Minish Cap, right?
Yeah.
And did they do Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons too, I think?
I don't remember. I just remember that they were involved with Minish Cap.
Yeah. And it's like, bring back Capcom. We need a brand new original. I'd love to see remakes of the Oracle games, but I'd also love to see a brand new original 2D Zelda.
I think maybe even somebody should commission Capcom to make some of the games that they haven't been making that they've been promised to. Because the thing is, when you leave a developer to themselves, they're going to look strictly at money. They're not going to analyze why the thing they put out didn't make the money, whether it was marketing, whether it was actually a single flaw or something. They're just going to look at it and be like, yeah, this isn't worth investing money into. So you never get like another Mega Man Legends game or something like that, right? But, Square doing the same thing. The reason we get Bravely Default and Octopath is because Nintendo kind of threw money at them to make the game. So maybe we just need somebody like Nintendo or whatever to just commission Capcom to make Mega Man Legends 3 or something like that, Like, somebody throw money at them. It's like, oh, well, we're not fronting the money for this, so yeah, we'll develop the game.
It just came out with a Mega Man 11
that
I bought, so I supported.
But the main Mega Man series actually has been making a lot of money, so they're incentivized to keep making those.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. But yeah, we're at the end of the show.
That's it.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Vomitorium. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend who you think would also like it. Or if you really enjoyed it, consider giving a monetary donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live. And we will see you tomorrow. I have no reason to cancel.
Oh, well, I'll talk to you about it afterwards.
Okay.
Tomorrow's fine. I'll be here tomorrow.
It's some other time after that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll catch you guys later.
See ya.
To this fight and you shall surely win. Now is the time to prove that you shall last until the end. Put your best into this fight, and you shall surely win. Now's the time to prove that you shall last until the end.